I'm Annie.
And I'm Leah.
And this is Lactation Business Coaching with Annie and Leah, where we talk about the smart way to create a compassionate and professional private practice.
Let's dive in.
Hey, Leah.
Hello, Annie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Excited about our topic today because it's something you and I both have some experience in. So it's always fun to talk about.
Yeah, and that's diversification of your business and how to just find different ways that you can make money with your passion for lactation.
Yeah. And I think this is a neat topic to talk about because I think sometimes we get really stuck in the mode of just doing this one thing is the only way that we have to make money and to support our families. And we could actually use our passions for more things. So I can't wait to talk about that.
Before we get into our content for the episode, this episode is sponsored by a tool that really will help you diversify, and that is Acuity Scheduling. So is your calendar running around topless? Rein it in with Acuity Scheduling. I have to say they gave us like different things we could say, and I was like, that is so perfect for our audience. Although we would be like, is your calendar running around topless? Free the nipple.
I know. Don't try to put a cap on that.
So free the nipple with Acuity Scheduling. Handle all your forms and payments before your appointment so you can get right down to visit. And if you go to acuityscheduling.com/LBC, which stands for Lactation Business Coaching, they're going to give you a 45-day free trial of Acuity. And I guarantee you're going to give it a try. And well before those 45 days are up, you're going to be like, yeah, I'm sold. But guess what? I still have all this free time left.
I know. I love Acuity. We've been using it for over a year now, like actually almost 2 years. And it's definitely changed our business in so many ways. And I've definitely allowed us to do the diversifying and freeing up times for more diversification. So I love Acuity. I'm definitely a big fan.
So I think I understand that your marketing tip has to do with diversification. So do you want to give that to us?
Yes. So there's two ways that you could actually diversify your marketing. So one aspect would be to make sure that you're diversifying the different ways that you do marketing. So you don't want to put all your marketing dollars and energy into just one form of marketing. So you wouldn't want to do everything just on Facebook or everything just Google ads or everything just referral marketing. You really want to make sure that you're diversifying so that you hit just all the different aspects. You're never going to get everybody on one shot. So you really want to make sure you keep that diversified. And then also remembering that as you look forward to diversifying your business, you have an audience right now. And that audience, you can start offering new things. So diversifying what you're offering your audience is a way to diversify your streams of income. So I love making sure that we're offering lots of different things. And if you've already built your audience, you're going to have a fresh crop ready to hear your new offerings.
I think that's a great marketing tip because I know I personally tend to stick with what's easy and what works when it comes to any marketing or advertising I'm doing for my private practice. And also get things just on autopilot. And I'm like, oh yeah, right. I think I have Google Ads. Do I? Don't I? So having that diversification mindset reminds you to also just check back on your channels and make sure you have them.
Yeah. And seeing what's working. I mean, like you said, you got to do what's working for your market and your population that you're speaking to. And you might see that, yeah, you definitely get more business when you're doing more social media ads or when you're doing more referral marketing. But you wouldn't want to completely neglect the other end. You have to like keep at least the doors open, keep at least a trickle going through.
Definitely. So on diversification, I guess like we're throwing this word around.
I know.
You might be like,
What
do you mean diversify? I'm a lactation consultant in private practice. That's what I do. This is my job. So what is diversification?
So to me, diversification means to open up multiple channels of income. So you don't just have one channel of income. You've actually diversified your income by adding in different ways or streams of income into your business. So you're not just a one for, I do a consult, I get the money. I do a consult, I get the money. But you have actually other ways that money is flowing into your company. And there's like hundreds of different channels that you could pick or streams that you could pick from.
And really, we think the big reason to consider diversifying your income, and there's a lot of ways to think about it, and we're going to go into like what that actually looks like. But really, as we talked about in episode 3, you're going to have times where you're really busy and you're going to have times where you're really slow. And having those alternate streams of income can really help during those lean times. And so that might just be as simple as saying, oh, I offer home visits and I offer follow-ups, but I never thought about doing a back to work class once a month. You know, that's diversifying.
Right. Right. Because you're just moving away from just the one model of income, one way income is going to come in, but you can diversify just what you offer as far as consults, the types of consults or the types of classes that you offer. That's another area, but it definitely can bolster you during those times that you might not be having as much of your, kind of main source of income coming in. And then you have this bolster behind you that you don't have to worry as much. I know we all do, but you don't have to have as much panic mode.
Because starting just with not relying on any one thing to make your money for you. So that could also just be, something that I struggle with is I take insurance. So I end up being really not diversified in the types of clients that I take. I can really get very heavy on insurance clients, but then that really means that I'm putting all of my eggs in that insurance company's basket. And
it's not a very sturdy basket.
It is not a very sturdy basket. Yes. And that's scary. And you realize you're like, wow, like if the bottom drops out of this, what happens? Do I have a cash business at all? And so for me, I really do need to challenge myself in my private practice to be diversified between insurance clients and self-paid clients. And that means most of my marketing goes towards my self-pay clients, to attracting those clients. And are my offerings competitive? And am I really doing enough to show that I'm not just some lady who takes your insurance, but I'm actually good at what I do? So that's for me, that's the fundamental diversification is just making sure that you're not relying on just one source of income for your business. And then the second, and so that you can make it through those lean times, or you can pivot if something really changes in your area. And then the second reason to diversify is coming up with a way to generate passive income for your business. Can also really help provide you with some kind of cushion. And we're going to talk in a minute about, specific things that people are doing, but, you'll see a lot lately is, people are developing courses, or this is a reason why people will come up with, continuing education offerings and make them available online is because, or write books. Like writing a book is like the ultimate in passive income. And, book publishing is never an area where anybody except for like Stephen King makes a gazillion dollars.
Right.
But, those, when you're working with a traditional publisher, those royalty checks they're nice. And if you're self-publishing, just once you write the book and once you've paid for the cost of producing it, that's your income. That's income. And it might not be enough to, quit your day job. Because you also might not want to quit your day job. Like, I don't want to quit my day job. I love my day job. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I'm doing what I love, but it is nice to have my books where that's also an income stream.
Yeah, For sure. I think that's so important to think about, is just having that more passive income that you're not spending an exorbitant amount of time on. You might have put in a lot of time, and then you're just kind of like reaping the rewards of that. And I think it's such a neat way to bolster those times where you might be a little bit more lean. It's just so important for us to think about, because they come. We have to never forget that they will come. The lean times will come.
They are
They
always
always
going to
do.
come.
I think one of the ways you start to think about, well, what would I even offer? How could I even generate passive income? Like, I can't even imagine what that would look like, would be to start to think about, what are you most passionate about? You might have a niche that you're really passionate about, a certain population that you're really passionate about, a certain topic in your field that you're just like, this is what I live for. Like, I just love this so much. I've researched it extensively because I just am so interested in it. So it might not even be something specifically lactation field related. It might be that you are also really good at something else and you want to share that passion with other people. Like, you might also really be good at QuickBooks. So now you've figured out how to do QuickBooks for a lactation private practice. Hey, hint, hint, if anybody out there wants to do this, you figured out how to do this and you've set up all the templates and you know how to like make this work so streamlined. Man, go out there and make a course. It takes, a little bit of time to get that course out there, but then people can take that course whenever they want and you just have cash flowing in. I love the idea of finding where maybe not just something like, oh, I know how to, help people with pumping. That's awesome area as well. You can make a course on that as well. But you could also think of things outside of just our lactation field and how you've merged them into your work, because we're always needing that kind of help. We're always needing ways that, I love finding courses that are lactation field specific on non-lactation issues, because that's something that we don't have. Like, you can find a lot of stuff out there about like a therapy practice, like how to run a therapy practice or how to do your whatever with these different private practices, but there's not as much about lactation. And we need more of that, because I think a lot of people have merged their other fields or passions into their lactation work. And that can be a passive income right there.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely what has motivated me. And so there are a lot of people who are bringing in these other disciplines and, creating tech solutions or inventing products. And, we still don't have the perfect breast pump. So if you're like able to do mechanical stuff, like that is a growth, that is a place where we could use you. But also, you're doing research, think of different ways to share it. So, if any of you that are doing research, that there are the, traditional venues where you're going to present at a conference and present a paper and do it in an academic setting. But there might be something else you can do with that research that is outside of the traditional box of traditional venues for speaking, and that could bring in revenue for you. That maybe there is an ebook that you can write, that's applying what you've studied in your research that other lactation consultants would want to buy. So maybe, there's, great, doing some like community-based work, like the Perinatal Equity Foundation that just put out a webinar that a bunch of us watched, and I think it's still up. It's about community-based lactation. So something like that, where then you can take something you've done and that maybe there's, you've got the academic way you're going about it, but something like that could also be turned into an ebook model that could be purchased by other community-based organizations that want to implement some of your practices. So, depending on, how that research was funded and what control you have over that, but just thinking about how you can, what you own and your intellectual property being valuable. And then there's nothing wrong with making money off of something like that when it's also going to make the world a better place. Just because it's going to make the world a better place doesn't mean you need to give it away for free. So just thinking about those things that and that you're doing well and that you love and that you've been asked to speak about,
I think all of us are always looking for more ways to, support in different ways, and like there's so many really, really amazing people out there doing great things that I think they could definitely share with us.
I mean, I'm like an easy mark. I will buy all the things if it has to
I know,
do
I am
with
too.
lactation.
I'm like any course that comes out, I'm like, I need to take that, especially if it's lactation specific, I'm just like, and I love anything business related, but like, I'm such a sucker. I'll buy all the things. So you guys, if you want to make some money, you can make it all off of me. Just make a course and I'll come buy it.
I am literally your target audience.
I know, right here, right now. I will pay all the money. But what are some other ways? So we talked about like ebooks. I think that's a really creative way. Course creation is huge right now. Like everybody, like so many people are putting out courses, and I'm so excited about so many of them, and I can't wait for more of those to come out. And those could be geared towards other professionals and towards moms as well. I know there's a lot of new ones coming out geared towards moms, might be breastfeeding classes or different kinds of support for different issues. I think that's huge. What else have you seen work for passive
I've
income?
actually seen some really fun, just little things that I really love. I'm going to give a little like free plug to somebody I really like, which is Rachel O'Brien. She sells t-shirts and I totally wear her I Speak Baby t-shirt. And I like to wear it when I go to tennis and my kids think it's hilarious. There are other people who are just selling like little like products that just help.
Or props for like, I've seen like people who make different like props for teaching latching or props for teaching, different techniques or things. I've seen a lot of that come out recently. And if that's your passion, like knitting something or crafting something is your passion, it's so amazing to then turn that around and get to share it with us who are like, no crafting here.
Mm-hmm. Parent handouts, those are great. And they can be digital, like things that we can share with our clients. I know there are people who are making those and they will personalize them for you. There's someone who's does pediatrician letters that you can, and she'll put your info on them and she writes a brand new one.
Oh, like a newsletter. Yeah. Isn't it like a,
yes, like the Booby Buzz. And so she'll do where you pay for the subscription and then she puts in your information, but then but she writes the content and it's really good. And she's also, I think she's pretty smart about like being careful with geography. So if there's somebody, she was not going to sell it to two people in the same geographic area.
Because it would make sense look weird coming from two people. Yeah.
But there's room for more things like that. And you can, or if you love to write, you can get, you can get paid to write, you can get paid to blog. You can, you can,
YouTube is a huge one too. Like everybody's looking for good YouTube videos to share. And you can get paid if that's something that you're interested in. I think that's another avenue that some people have taken on.
Yeah. And, there's some, people who are doing, kind of bigger courses, putting their videos, instructional videos behind a paywall. And that is if you've got really good content, think about like, if you're really great at making videos, put one video on YouTube and then put the rest behind a paywall and make us pay you for those videos. Yeah. I will pay you for those good videos. I don't mind doing that. In fact, I like doing it because I want to support the creation of content that is valuable. And to keep in mind, like if you're somebody who likes videos and putting them on YouTube, YouTube is actually a search engine and it's like the biggest search engine. It might even be like, I don't know. I'm not don't quote me on this, but it's either like the biggest search engine or the second biggest search engine after Google. So people are going to YouTube to search for videos on topics that they're interested in. Yeah. And so don't feed YouTube, feed your business. Use YouTube so people can find you and then put a price tag on your work. And
because you spent time and energy creating stuff and learning, and it takes a lot of years of experience to be proficient at maybe one specific thing. So it's valuable to us. And like you, I'm like, I'll pay for things. I think there's such a huge market out there that is untapped, this untapped market. Um, like on Etsy, you can get like pre-made like fillable form stuff and like I can't remember the exact name that they're called, but there's like this whole market for, creation of forms and maybe different tools and tips and techniques on paper, like that you could have printables or electronic versions. And I think we could use more of that. Like, I know we have a lot of people using apps, but there's still plenty of people out there that like to write stuff down. And so things like having a cool feeding logs and stuff like that you could give to parents, like that would even be something that could be a passive income.
Yeah, if you've got those good graphic design skills.
Yes.
And even if you're really creative on graphic design, think about marketing yourself as a logo designer for lactation consultants, because we have really specific needs. And I know you've been going through a bit of a rebranding, looking for a logo, but logo designers who are making logos, you tell them what you do and they default to the things, the images we have seen a million times.
And
it's frustrating. And they pick the same colors and they go for the same little thing. And you're like, I have seen an iteration of that logo 100 million times.
Right.
We all have the same logo, which is fine because we're not all we're not all trying to reach the same people. Like if I have an identical logo to somebody, like say Leah and I could have the same logo for our private practices, and our clients will never know.
Yeah.
But if you're a graphic designer, if you're an artist and a lactation consultant, and you might be like, I can come up with 15 logos that are great for lactation consultants that look nothing like what anyone has ever seen before. Like,
oh my gosh, I'd pay you $1 million right now.
Yeah, you're hired. If you
please come.
We've been trying to find, get help with the podcast and trying to find somebody that can help us, with our show notes. And you go to somebody who people just don't, you try somebody on Fiverr, they just don't understand lactation consultants.
Yeah.
And it's like,
there is a huge market for that for sure. Like writing blog posts, like you can't, or like not even blog posts, but because that would be something you would write, but like content for your website, like that's impossible to hire out. Like nearly impossible to hire out.
But I would hire somebody that knew about lactation and had those skills.
100%.
So like being a virtual assistant to other lactation consultants. So say you have your private practice in your geographic area, but then you could work virtually for somebody else across the country or in another country. They're not, you're not in the same market at all. And that's a way to, cover your lean times. I mean, it's a great way to expand what you're able to do and help somebody else without having it taking away from your own local business.
Right. And I think locally, so we're talking like kind of farther reaching stuff, but like even locally, I know a lot of consultants might do like sell things, or they might have pump rentals as part of their business, as well as a way to like bring in additional income. I think there's just maybe some ethical considerations that you'd want to have there.
Yeah. And I've been really going pretty deep into those because my new subcontractor wants to research us renting pumps because we're in Queens, New York, and just local, we're having to send people to Manhattan or they're having to drive all the way to Brooklyn, and it's really far. And so we're like, it would be, we're very centrally located and it could be a good idea. So we've been thinking, okay, what are the ethical considerations here? And the big one with pump rentals or any retail product that you are selling that your clients might want to buy is that to make sure you're, presenting them with alternatives. So you could rent the pump from me, or you could rent it from these two other places. And just to be really careful that there's a creep that can happen where I rent pumps and all of a sudden I've got more clients who need pumps. So,
yes.
So that's the danger of things like that. And the other, big thing that the book I always refer back to and that I've been, poring over is Legal and Ethical Issues for the IBCLC by Elizabeth Brooks.
It's a
She's an attorney,
fantastic
and
book.
you have to own it.
Yeah, you
It's
just kind
just
of read
not
it.
really optional. And so, she talks also about it. Once you start selling things, these companies are going to want to give you things for free. So, big one is Spectra. They really want you to learn how to use the Spectra, and they really want you to, get involved in that and sell their, flanges, and which is good. Like my clients have a really hard time getting flanges for the Spectra.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I would love to make that easier for them. But Spectra wants to give you a free pump. Don't take the free pump. Don't take the free anything, because when you take something for free, it engenders like a warm feeling towards that company. And you may think that you're impervious to it, but you're not. Like this
Yeah.
is like science shows that like you can't really fight against that. And so you have to be really careful with ethics when it comes to anything where you're selling something to your clients as part of your clinical care of them.
Yeah.
If you stand to
I think there
profit.
is. Yeah. I think there definitely is a fine line. And I know some people like they have a whole, business storefront where they have, all the things, bras and nursing wear and all the gear. But then they also run their lactation business out of that storefront. And they've, tried to be as ethical about it as possible, but there are definitely considerations and just making sure that I love your point about making sure everybody has options when you're like, okay, I carry this, but you can also get it in these places as well. I think is a great way to manage some of that, but definitely read the book so that in offering any of these things, I think it's always smart to just disclose and be open about, yeah, I'm doing this, but I also have this side gig that I do this. I just want you to be aware of it. There's never anything wrong with just being open and letting people make an informed choice about any of the things that they might be exchanging money with you for.
and some of that is going to involve pushing back against what is a lot of the resources and training out there about marketing and sales are really about creating this kind of they call it a funnel. So your goal is like you want to get your people into your customers, potential customers, into the funnel and convert them into customers and make them buy, and you want to upsell them, and you're always trying to make more profit off of them, which is like gross.
Yeah, it just doesn't sound good.
It does not sound good. But like you can really like, that's where people are. If you look online and you're like, okay, I want to learn how to do marketing, I want to learn how to do sales. That's what you're going to find.
It does not apply to what we do.
Does not apply to what we do at all. And it doesn't really apply when you're to, any kind of like helping work that you're doing, or what, if you're trying to make the world a better place, that kind of stuff doesn't really apply. And so what you want to do is you want to do like the total opposite, which is to be transparent with people and say, like you were, with the pumps, and not say, oh yeah, you need a pump and here you go. And you want to
you
stop
also probably
them.
want an extra set of flanges.
Right.
That's important as well. Like I have this pack right here that you could buy them
and look,
all.
it's if you buy 3, you get 1 free. Like you're not doing any of that to your clients. In fact, you want to stop them. You want to stop them at any purchase decision point and make sure they are making an informed decision, and make sure that you are checking any potential conflict of interest. And if you're even hesitating, is this a conflict of interest? Just assume that it is.
Yeah,
and don't do it.
Probably a good assumption.
Yeah. You're never gonna do the wrong thing by not doing something just in case it was a conflict of interest. Like you're never gonna be like, man, that really wasn't a conflict of interest after all. I really should have gone for it. But what you are gonna regret is doing something and then later that having a guilty feeling of like, I really didn't do the right thing. I was wrong.
I 100% agree with that.
You're also going to want to make sure that you're up to date on any kind of applicable laws or regulations around your business. So if you are selling products, do you need to pay sales tax in your state?
Yes, that's so important.
If you're offering, classes, do you have all of the right kind of insurance in place for that and liability? And if you're thinking, oh, I want to have classes out of my home, does your are you allowed to do that? Like,
Yeah.
are there any zoning laws that apply?
Yeah. There's a lot of things to think about when it comes to this diversification. You always just want to check yourself, because different regions and different states have so many different laws that revolve around some of these different aspects of adding on additional work
Yeah,
for ourselves.
and there that can apply to online offerings, and how there are laws about how you're allowed to market things online, and what disclosures you need to make. And if you have people from other countries who are potential customers of yours, you may need to know about things like the GDPR and what disclosures you need to have on your website, and how you're protecting the privacy of your customers. And these are not your client customers, but like, say I sell something to Leah, I need to make sure I'm protecting her privacy as my customer, even outside of her being my client. Like, that client privacy is one thing, but there's also there are laws around online privacy that just have to do with online marketing and online sales that you need to know about.
Yeah.
And then also just being smart about your time management, like we talked about a couple episodes ago, is that you might be an idea person and you've got an idea for every second of the day. And like, I mean, can't get, like, this is my problem. Like, I get out of the shower and I'm like, I just came up with 8 things I want to do. And
I've heard a few Marco Polos from you on that one.
Yes, I know. I get out of the shower and I'm like, don't even brush my hair. And I'm like, Leah, I know what we're going to do.
I love it. I'm the same. I'm always like generating these big ideas, but you have to be so smart about it, because you can't take on the world, because you'll, one, burn out, and two, you might not be able to follow through with what you've started.
And they're not all good ideas. Yeah. Like, they're good ideas right when I got out of the shower. and then like 3 days later, I was like, I don't actually want to do that. Like,
no,
that
not
was
interested.
dumb.
But you know what? Sometimes those ideas are great ones. I wish there was like this, okay, Annie, new business idea, this idea funnel generation tool that, like, we come up with all these great ideas and we start to package them into these little, I don't know, funnels that then people could like, oh, I'm interested in having more diversification in this area, and I'm good at that. And then Annie and I will have like 10 ideas for you of things that you can do. Annie, this is our new business model. And then, like, if you're like, oh, I'm good at like bookkeeping, Annie and I are going to have like, here are 10 ideas of things that you could diversify your income with. Lactation field. It's totally there. We're doing it.
I'm going to go you one better. It's an idea aftermarket, and we're totally going to create a platform where we can all sell our bad ideas to other people who want them. It's going to be like,
it's awesome. This is so good.
Done. But I have to go because I need to like do this.
Like, create the new thing. Good. But I helped you, so I need to have a cut on that one.
Oh yeah, totally. Totally. I will get you a contract. This is what happens. And so you have to be smart, because I literally was like, that's why it's important to all those ideas to write them down. Yes. So then you stop thinking about them, and then you can come back to them at a more sane moment and decide is like, I really want to do that. And other ones, I look at them and I was like, do not do that. That is going to make things worse for you.
Right.
And then there's, a book that I really, it's a little cheesy, but I like it. And maybe you've read it, called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. Yeah. It's her book about writing. And she has this idea that I like, it's like, it is totally like woo and magical. And I completely agree with it, is that you might have a really good idea and then you don't act on it, or you try it and it fizzles out for you. And then she's like, that's okay, because it's just going to go back out there and it's going to float around until it picks somebody else. And then they're going to do it, and they're the right person to do it. So you don't have to feel like I'm the right person for every idea that I have, because if it's a good idea, it's going to happen.
Right.
It doesn't have to happen through you.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. And don't be afraid to try some of these things out. And if they don't work or they fizzle out, or you just realize, gosh, I thought I had a passion for this and I really, really don't. Like sometimes our steps to success are up and down, or to creating things. It takes some failures before you get some successes. And I think sometimes we get so hooked in like, well, I don't want to try that because I might like totally bomb that. And then, what does that mean? I can't even do extra passive income. So we just limit ourselves. But it's like, if you have a good idea and you feel passionate about it, like throw it out there, try it, and it may or may not work for you. And that's okay, because that's how you're going to hone in on what is going to work for you in the long run. And it takes those failures to figure that out. I know that from experience.
Me too. And I think there are a lot of people out there who are listening who know that as well. But I do I want to live in this world where we're all having great ideas and making them happen, because our ideas really make the world a better place. And we joke about how I'll buy anything, but the reality is that I will, and the reason I will buy things that other lactation consultants make is because I want to support them. And the only way to support them is really the best way is to pay them for the things that they're making, pay them for their videos, pay them for their photos, pay them for their products, but also it's going to make me a better lactation consultant. And then I'm going to have more space to create things I want to create. And then it really does become, I think there is a way where we can, by making things and buying them from each other, we're going to raise the level of our profession and make us all better lactation consultants. I really, when we're better at what we do, families are better served. So don't sit on that good idea you have, because it really might just change my life.
Yes, get it out there. We want to hear it. We're definitely your first customers. So send us an email as soon as you have it created. And as we wrap up today on this wonderful topic, tell us about your tech tip, Annie.
Yeah. So my tech tip today is about diversification, and just recommending that when you are choosing a business name or your domain name URL, think about using something that's going to allow you to diversify. So I ran into this problem a couple of years ago. I had picked the URL queenslactationconsultant.com. And then what happened shortly after was I started going to Brooklyn. And I was like, I'm the queenslactationconsultant.com who goes to Brooklyn. And so that got strange. And it was also really long. And I was like, and I'm not the Queen's Lactation Consultant. So I recently switched to citylactation.com, which allowed me then to hire someone else, because it's not just me. And then we can go to different places and we can go in the city. So that's my tip, is just kind of think about who you are and where you want to go, and to be careful of anything and I do also conversely recommend location specific domain names and business names, because I think they are really helpful for marketing, but you want to be just really kind of balanced about, is this going to hold me back?
Is it too narrow?
And that's what happened with me, is that mine was too narrow. And so when you have your business name or your domain name, you can use that in Acuity to create custom URLs. So instead of acuityscheduling.com/HJ78 star, whatever it is that they put the gibberish, it'll be citylactation.as.me is the URL that you get. So that's really helpful in Acuity for that customization, to know what your custom domain name is going to be. So that's my tech tip. And don't be afraid to change your domain name or your business name. Seriously, it's gonna be fine. You're not.
I've a great example of that.
And everything is fine.
Everything is just fine. Annie has survived the changing of the names. That's awesome. Well, Annie, it's been great talking to you today. I can't wait to see what all you amazing lactation consultants out there start putting out into the world to diversify your incomes. I'm super excited about that. Annie, I can't wait till the next time we talk again.
For sure, Leah. Take care.
Thanks, you too. All right, bye.
Thanks for listening to Lactation Business Coaching with Annie and Leah. If you like this podcast, please leave us a rating or review on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you're listening right now. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode.